All right, hey you guys, it's your legal bestie attorney Simone. Thanks so much for joining me. Hit that like and hit the subscribe as you come on in. Thank you guys for rocking with me. I know this is a lot later than I usually do, but I had to give you guys some content for today. There's so much that's been going on, and we've got our docket right here. Let me know where you are viewing and watching us from. Here goes our docket, y'all. This is getting us started. Now, as you may know, I've been having some health challenges, so I appreciate you guys keeping me in your prayers, and I'm doing my best to be consistent, more consistent, as I know I've been off trying to figure out all this health stuff. But I'm going to try and make sure that I post at least 3 times this week. I know that you guys have really been asking me about the whole situation with the singer David and his missing 13-year-old girlfriend. That is in the works. But for tonight, here's what we got on the docket. And I do my best to not keep covering like the same topics that are all over, Instagram, social media, all that stuff. Or if I'm covering something, if you see me that I'm covering something that it feels like a whole bunch of people have been talking about, it's because I found some interesting little nuance to it. Now, you'll see my backdrop right here. These are the cotton fields, because I feel like any day now, they're going to try to take us right on back. Okay, any day now. So I just thought that, yep, this is the cotton fields. Just, I need to start stretching so that I can be prepared to do that type of manual labor. Because apparently America just don't care nothing about the colors. Let me know in the chat. So last week, I'm not covering this today, but last week, all the Dems in the Senate voted unanimously in the Senate to honor Mr. Kirk, Mr. Charlie Kirk, with the Day of Remembrance. I've pulled the actual verbatim resolution and what it says, and I thought perhaps we should go over that at a later time, because I want you to see exactly what was agreed to, and then you can decide. Was it about the Dems simply coming together with Republicans on a bipartisan basis to denounce violence? Or was it praising someone who spreads what would be hate? I'll give you those docs. Let me know if you're interested in seeing that. Let me know in the chat. Where are you guys watching from? Oh, I'm blurry. I'm blurry again. Okay, let's see if I can fix this blurriness. Hold on. I think it is still blurry. Okay, let's see. Because I'm on the Ethernet. Let's see if we can do this. Let's see if this helps. I think because let's see. Keep still trying to help it out. Here we go. See if this helps. All right, I reduced the quality, and what I may also do is kind of make my picture smaller because you don't need me as much. You can hear me fine, but I'm blurry. All right, I'm going to make my picture smaller because you're not going to need me as much on this. This is actually about the tea. So here's what we got on the docket. We've got a particular athlete that was recently on Justin's podcast. You'll know Justin when I show you the clip, who says that despite making over 50 million, being worth over 50 million, he makes his girlfriend go 50-50. We're going to talk about that. Charlie Kirk's wife has said that she is suing everybody for defamation, y'all. And we're going to explain, unfortunately, under the law, why she would lose, why she can't do that, even though the Republicans, who, of course, are in power right now, are allowing, they're basically trying to cancel anyone who does anything other than praise him. And they very much are trying to create their own law. So we'll talk about that. Young Miami stands up for her man, Diddy. There is a really important hearing that's happening this Thursday in the Diddy case. I'm going to touch on that. And his sentencing, as of now, is still set for October the 3rd. I'm actually in New York. That's why my internet sucks. I'm in New York. Yes, I am going to his sentencing. I will be at Diddy's sentencing, and I will be live at his hearing this week. So yes, I am here to cover those for you guys live and in person. Yes. Somebody said I hate it here. Absolutely. All right, so we're going to start with this one because this one's kind of like, and then, of course, we're going to conclude with Offset and Cardi B dating while pregnant. Trust me, you do not want to miss this. I got some legal tea. I got the real legal tea on why, one, Offset will not allow Cardi to divorce him right now. And two, what it is that Cardi is fighting so hard for and why. All right, so first, we're going to start with this little gentleman here. So this guy here is a basketball player, a little cutie patootie. And he was recently on on Justin's podcast. Justin's the guy who posts all the memes. Take a look at what he shares there. Here we go. We only got 44 likes, but we got over 100 watching. So hit that like, guys. Here we go. Yeah,
splitting rent with your ex-girlfriend. I know you don't. I know you.
So they just said he's worth 200 million. I'm going to take the banner down. He's worth 200 million, but goes 50-50 with his girl.
You're not worth $200 million and was splitting rent with your ex-girlfriend.
You talking about that I should pay for the whole thing?
Absolutely. Hold on. $200 million deal and you were splitting rent with your ex-girlfriend?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? The right decision. You worth $200 million. Her rent was probably $3,000, bro.
Okay, but
she's killing herself to make half, and then she always with you.
But look,
how is she even making
willing?
that half?
Okay. So basically, she's looking around. she's looking around for her apartments, and she came across one, but it was way out of her price range. It was like double what she could afford. So I was like, this is really nice. I want you to be able to stay here. I want to be able to pull up and stay here. You know what I'm saying? Like, what can you afford? And I'll split it. I'll pay the rest. So
right.
I ended up doing that, and I was like, "Yo, whatever happens," and I want the people's advice on this too, because I'm curious.
Yeah, I'm gonna give. I am the people.
Basically, bruh, I said whatever happens in this relationship for the next year, I'm committed to paying this rent.
You're a year by year guy. You committed to the NBA year by year. You committed to your woman
because I'm like, I don't know if we're gonna be together. I don't know if this is my wife. I don't know if it's not. So I'm like, okay, for this next year, I got you. Whatever happens, we could break up. I got you for this next year. I'll split rent with you.
You into it with the wrong mindset, though.
I know, but bro, I don't know. I just didn't know. So then we end up breaking up 5-6 months into the rent, and basically that's where I'm at now. Where I'm like, man, do I keep helping her out, or is it cooked?
So, have you paid your half of the rent? How does that work if you blocked on shit?
No, we were in a little bit of communication. She ended up hitting my phone asking for the bread.
Hell yeah, she gonna keep
which I don't blame her, because she went into that apartment not being able to afford it, and I gave her my word. So
why you just don't send her half for the rest of the year?
Because she need to act right month to month, nigga.
Oh. Yeah, dude, I've been waiting for you to wake up this interview. There you go.
Nah, I'm just saying. So like, if I'm paying the remaining months, month to month.
Yeah.
But
I
see she's wilding, and like, bro, it's gonna be hard to continue that agreement. You feel me? That's gonna be tough, because if you're out here wilding, get that next dude to pay that rent.
All right, what y'all think? What do y'all think? Do y'all think he should? Okay, so basically, after 5 months in, they break up, but he told her. He saw she was looking at apartments that were twice what she could afford. He told her, get it. I will split it with you, is what he told her. I will split it with you. He's worth 200 million. Let's just say he makes 20 million a year, something in that range, right? Should he be responsible for paying out the rest of the lease? They're 5 months in, so they got about 7 months left. And he says he doesn't want to just pay it off and just not be done with her. Number one, ladies and gentlemen, somebody said this sounds confusing. If somebody said should say you're either tricking or not. You either have it or you don't. Number one, you should not be splitting rent. Women, if you're going to split rent with men, that's your business. But you shouldn't be doing it 50-50. It's actually supposed to be pro rata based on your relative salaries. So you put both salaries, whatever y'all make, let's say monthly, put them both total them together. So let's say, to keep it even, she makes $1,000 a month. He makes $10,000. That means in a given month, you've got $11,000 to use to pay bills. She should pay 10% of any bills, and then he should pay the 90%. That's how you split bills fairly. I dated this guy. He lived in California. I lived in Texas, and I owned my home in Texas. He wanted me to move to California. And so I asked, okay, what's your rent? He said $5,000 a month. He also had a son. He had a 3-bedroom. 1 bedroom was his, 1 was his son's, 1 was the guest room. I said, okay, if I moved, what would your expectations of me be financially? Mind you, I still have to pay my mortgage, HOAs, insurance, etc. He said, well, we could split the rent 50-50. Are you crazy? Hell no, because first of all, you have a child. So if anything, you guys would be 2/3, I would be 1/3. But he ran a hedge fund. He made tons more than I did. So why would I split 50-50? Because what happens is when you're splitting 50-50 with someone else who makes 90% more than you, it hurts you a lot to come up with that money, and it's nothing to them. That's bubblegum money for him. It says, yes, he is responsible for the year that he agreed to. He seems like he kept his word. It sounds like he wanted someone's opinion on what to do as well. But also, this is the lease, right? So everyone knows it is a year lease. So he has to make good with that lease, given that he didn't tell her, well, but if we break up, I'm not going to continue splitting with you. If he had said that, he would be Gucci. He would be Gucci. I actually had a boyfriend in college, and I had moved in with him. He lived in the dorm, one of the campus apartments, and he only had one roommate, but it was 4 bedrooms. So the agreement was, you let me stay here for free as long as I bought a big old TV for the living area. I did. And I literally made him sign a piece of paper that said, this is my TV. I'm sharing it with you. And if we break up, the TV goes with me. And of course, I needed that because we broke up. I knew we were going to break up. He was dumb. So under the law, though, legally, does he have to keep paying her rent? The answer is probably, because under the law, even if he is not on the lease, because more than likely, if this is twice her income, more than likely he is either on the lease or the lease may be completely in his name. With the Diddy case, when Diddy paid Jane Doe's rent, the lease was in the name of Bad Boy. That was part of how they tried to loop it into RICO. And that was because, of course, old girl Jane wouldn't be able to qualify credit-wise for a $10,000 a month apartment when her only income was her child support, which was like $7,000 a month or something. So under the law, there's something that says, basically, it's called justifiable reliance. That law says, even if we do not have a written contract, even if otherwise a court would say, hey, you two don't have a contract at all. If she could show, if the girlfriend can show that she justifiably relied upon his promise to pay the rent, the half of the rent for 1 year, and that she changed positions as a result. She changed positions because she entered into the lease, right? She moved into the property. She changed positions and moved into the property. That in doing that, even if they don't have no contract, even if it's not written down, any of that, he, under the law, is still liable because she relied on him. It was reasonable to do so. It's very reasonable to think that your boyfriend worth $200 million would make good on his promise to pay half of your rent and go from there. So the answer for him is he need to go ahead, just keep paying. But he really needs to put that money into account, either pay that half directly to the landlord, because it sounds like his concern might be that she'd take the money and not actually pay the lease. So if he's anywhere on the paperwork, he needs to pay it directly to the landlord and then move on with his life. But it actually sounds like it's a control mechanism, and we know how that goes. At the end of the day, this is not your husband. Y'all are not engaged, your boyfriend and girlfriend. And when you do that stuff, you run the risk of messing up your own credit, because any given day, this man could say, nope, we're broken up. I got a new girl. I'm paying her bills, not yours. And you are stuck. Because by the time you file whatever you file in small claims court or wherever else, by the time you get that filed, you done spent up all your money. You done spent up the money that you could have put towards rent. Hit that like, y'all, as you come on in here. It says like a lot of these girls don't know how to date and profit from rich men, and it shows. It says second, he should just pay her a lump sum of what's left and go on. Exactly. But it sounds like he wants to use this to modify her behavior. Like he said, if she's not acting right. Now, I don't know if that means stalking or what, or preventing her from saying nasty things about him on social media or whatever, but he could get a lawyer to draw up agreement that says, hey, I'm gonna give you this lump sum. It's non-disparagement, but I'm paying it directly to the leasing office, especially if his name is anywhere on the lease. See what you did? Sign a paper. Yep, I did. Somebody said, I'm not splitting rent with a centie millionaire. Yep. If he's a good man, he'd just pay it and be done with it and go away. Yeah. Also, I love that. The last thing I'm going to say on this before we go to the next topic is I love that my granny, She always taught us. My granny's married like 67 years, and my Creole granny on my mom's side. She said, you don't split rent, you don't split mortgages with men, because she said, number one, you should be living within one income. Like, you should be able to afford your lifestyle. If he got laid off or you got laid off, y'all should be able to afford your lifestyle. Number one. And number two, as the man and as the head of the house, he got to lay his head down somewhere, and therefore, whatever he can afford on his own in his budget, go ahead and let him afford it. You shouldn't be splitting it. So I found it interesting, and I totally understood where this guy here said, he said, I forget his name. Y'all put his name in the chat. I forget his name. But, Michael Porter Jr. He specifically said, find something that you like and then pay what you can afford, and I'll take care of the rest. So similarly, like if there was a man who, let's say, he could afford $3K a month, and I'm like, well, no, I want a penthouse. I want this vibe. I don't have a problem. Yeah, I believe I'm supposed to pay that extra too, if I am now changing his budget. But otherwise, we gonna move in. If it's me, we moving in whatever you can afford, baby. Whatever you can afford. Because I dated this guy. It was another guy. He had like 2 or 3 kids. He wanted to move into my condo. And I said, well, what are you paying in rent? And he told me what he was paying in rent was like $600 more than my mortgage. So I was like, okay, you can just give me that. And he was like, well, what's your mortgage? I was like, it doesn't matter. He was like, yes, it is. I'll give you half your mortgage. I said, nope, you didn't put the down payment down. You didn't do any of the renovations. You haven't, hell no. If you were going to pay $2K a month, if you've been paying $2K a month for years for a 2-bedroom or 1 bedroom, I can't remember what it was, then you can move into mine and pay the same amount. I'm supposed to be your girlfriend. Anyway, that didn't last long. He was stupid and dumb. So that was that. All right, next up. All right, and don't forget, guys, I'm your legal bestie, attorney Simone. You can always go to, here we go, we're going to share it here. You can always go to SimoneRedwine.com to book a consultation with me. I do consultations on legal issues across America. Now, if you're hurt in an auto accident of any sort, 18-wheeler, etc., those consultations are absolutely for free. And you just click here, click book, hire Simone, pick the day and time that works for you. Auto accident consultations are always free. Serious injury consults, always free. But there are rates starting at $200 for 30 minutes. If you have other types of legal matters. So I'd love to help you there. All right, next up. Oh, boy. Oh, Mr. Charlie. All right, Mr. Charlie's wife. She's angry, guys. I mean, obviously, she's angry. Okay, I'm going to be serious here because this is a serious matter. So I know you guys are tired of talking about Charlie Kirk. We're not going to talk about it in the traditional sense. This is a legal tidbit that everyone needs to know, and it's directly relevant here. So as you know, currently conservatives are trying to cancel anyone, including Jimmy Kimmel, who isn't simply praising Mr. Kirk. Jimmy Kimmel, luckily, is supposed to be right back on the air. I'm going to do a separate video related to that. But this is what Erika Kirk, Charlie Kirk's wife, has to say to those who are besmirching his name. So Turning Point USA spokesperson, it says Andrew Covette, says the organization and Kirk's family are pursuing legal action against outlets and figures who smeared Charlie Kirk following his assassin, you know the words. It says, we are seeking it all and logging it all. We have good lawyers, Covette said on a podcast. And then here she is. Let me see. Oh, there's no audio to this? Oh, I guess there's not. Okay, the audio isn't playing for this one. This is a screenshot. Well, in this video, she specifically says, and I will be suing anyone who says anything negative about my husband, etc., etc. So here's the thing. That's impossible. So under the law, and you guys know I know defamation. I covered the Tasha K case. I have covered a number of different defamation cases, Tasha K, Cardi B, etc. Here's the thing about defamation. There's no such thing as defaming the dead. So I am so sorry to Mrs. Kirk and her children, but there's no such thing as defaming the dead. And here's why. So defamation is a claim that only a live person can bring. The reason being is that once you die, it's believed so does your reputation. And in other words, the risk of harm to your reputation dies once you've passed away. So, for example, if someone says something negative about Charlie, it's not like or if they defame him specifically, it's not like it's going to keep him from getting a job. It's not like it's going to keep him from getting an endorsement deal, right? Because he's no longer with us to receive either of those things. So the law is very, very clear. So I thought, well, wait a minute. Well, what about your estate? Certainly, there are multiple times you'll see in the law, under the law, where an estate will take on a lawsuit on behalf of a person that's no longer with us, that's passed away. I've had a auto accident case where my client was hit by an 18-wheeler driver. That driver later passed away unrelated to the accident. When I sued, I also sued the estate so that if he had millions or anything like that, those millions could be used to help my very seriously injured client. So similarly here, though, in this instance, Charlie Kirk's wife, Erika Kirk, is seeking to take on a suit. Excuse me. Here we go. I'll make it larger. To take on a suit on his behalf to pursue defamation. But you can't do that either, because at the end of the day, he still passed away. Now, if someone said something about her, they absolutely could. If they said something defamatory, and it's not just anything, I'm specifically saying defamatory. If they said something defamatory about his business, Turning Point USA, which still exists, then they could pursue claims against that. But saying something negative about Charlie, even if you said Charlie Kirk is the R word, he is a supremacist, he's a blah, 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 any of that, can't do anything about it. Even if Turning Point says, well, this is tarnishing our reputation, it doesn't matter. Everyone has the right. What was the defamation? So the defamation, arguably, thank you, that was a good question. Here it was. The defamation was claiming that he was the R word. It was saying that he spread hate, that he was a W supremacist. Those were those were some of the things that they were claiming. Hit that like, y'all, and hit the subscribe. That they were claiming were defamatory. But also you have to remember, under the law, we all have the freedom of speech. And as a result, you can say, I believe he was a R word. That's an opinion. The thing about defamation, you cannot be sued. You cannot succeed on a defamation claim, because people can sue for anything stupid. That doesn't mean they'll win. You cannot succeed on a defamation claim based on someone expressing their opinion. If their opinion is, oh, he is a supremacist or this, that, or anything else, you could say, oh, it's my opinion that he likes boogers. Okay, again, if that's your opinion, you can do that. But that's also how come you'll see sometimes like Nicki Minaj and stuff. She'll say, this is for entertainment purposes only, or she'll say, this is my opinion. All right, he should have just, oh yeah, the other guy should have just gave her. Can't she take this podcast to court to prove a verbal agreement? Oh, this is, you're talking about the prior. I'm going to start some of these and hit back on those. It says, well, if the shoe fits, however, defamation is hard to prove as well. Yep. So in the end, unfortunately for Miss Kirk, her relief is exclusively if someone defames her, she can always pursue a claim, or if they are specifically defaming and telling lies about Turning Point USA, which is the air quote nonprofit. I say air quote because they sure are political for a nonprofit that Charlie started. All right, next on the docket. Let's put the docket back up, y'all. We are cruising right along. So far, what we've covered is the athlete worth $200 million, actually, who demands that his girlfriend go 50-50. Why Miss Kirk can't sue for defamation. Oh, and Young Miami. She is standing by her man, y'all. Let me share that one. We are going to remove this one. Young Miami is standing by her man, i.e. Diddy. And here's what we got. All right, so Young Miami has submitted a letter to the court, a character letter. Now, Diddy's sentencing is not this Friday, but next Friday, October 3rd. I'm going to talk about Young Miami's letter here that she submitted, and then I'm going to give you some of my quick thoughts based on the docket. and what all is going on. I will be in court. I will be covering that. Yes, Young Miami taking up for her man. Okay, let me pull this banner down. So you do. All right, so here's what Young Miami done wrote and told the court. She says, Your Honor, my name is Carisha Brownlee. I'm a mother, daughter, sister, and a hip hop artist who has spent many years in the public eye. I want to be clear that I cannot speak on or defend anything that may have happened before I met Sean Combs. I do not condone any wrongdoing. I can only speak from my personal experience and the man I've come to know over the past 4 years. For 3 of those years, I was in a public relationship with Sean. And during that time, I witnessed and came to know a different person than the one often portrayed. Behind the scenes, he was loving, genuine, supportive, and always encouraging. He motivated me, believed in me, and helped me grow both personally and professionally. I'm writing this letter because I believe it's important for the court to know this side of Sean that isn't always seen or spoken about. The man who poured into others, who gave opportunities, who led by example, and who loved deeply. Y'all think she wrote this? Let me know in the chat. Y'all think she wrote this? So, he helped shape me both professionally and personally. He believed in me, pushed me to grow, and taught me how to be a better businesswoman. A business lady. He helped me find balance between chasing my dreams and being present for my family, because that's what he did. No matter how busy he was, he never missed holidays or special moments with his family. One of my most meaningful memories was when he took me to my first Met Gala. Girl, what this got to do with anything? Girl, he done took you to the concert, okay? He done took you to the gala. It says, it wasn't just about the event, exclamation point. We now need a capital I, but it says, it was about what it represented. Sean has always made it a priority to open doors for Black people, to make sure we are seen, heard, and valued in spaces where we were historically being excluded. That night reminded me that we belong in every room, at every table, and in every conversation. He's constantly encouraged me and so many others to dream bigger, walk in confidence, and never shrink who we are to make others comfortable. He always gave me a voice by providing me a platform on his network to speak for the culture and connect with people in a way that was real and authentic. That opportunity changed the direction of my career and showed me the impact one person can have when they choose to uplift others. Beyond all that, I've seen him give back to his community over and over again. Girl, that is for tax deductions. In 2022, we fed the homeless together on Thanksgiving. But that was just one example. Oh, see, Jane didn't feed no homeless. See, Jane was, It says, there were so, come on, we got to wrap this up, girl. Oh, here. It says, there were so many, wrap this up. Let me see. Get this way. No. Try to refresh it. It is, there were so many more, it's about to piss me off. Hold on, it's a certain, here we go. Okay, there we go. Now can I do it? It's not going. We're going to do it this way. There we go. Okay. Oh, hold on. Girl. Oh, it's not much more on there. Oh, there we go. It was so many moments where he gave quietly, privately, without cameras, because his heart genuinely wanted to help. I've also witnessed him doing real inner work. He made the choice to check himself into anger management, start therapy, and commit to physical healing through therapy. Y'all, he signed up for all those things when he knew the feds were looking into criminal charges for him. Okay. He didn't just go to anger management because it was a pretty Tuesday outside. And I believe this was actually before the mutual hand-to-hand combat with Jane. Because I don't believe that the physical stuff that Jane encountered was anything parallel or anything similar to Cassie's. I believe that Jane started it and lost. That's separate. Okay. It says that takes strength, humility, and self-awareness. He didn't do it for show. He did it because he wanted to grow and become a better person. We'll see. That's the anger management she's talking about, y'all. Almost done. It says, in my personal experience, Sean is not a danger or a threat to the community. He is a man of God, someone who uplifts, supports, and inspires those around him to be better mentally, physically, and spiritually. But more than anything, he is a father, and his kids are the ones who look up to him the most. They need him, Your Honor. His presence, love, and guidance, matter deeply in their lives. I truly believe he belongs at home with his family, the people who mean the most to him and who continue to be his great source of purpose and strength. Judge, that's a good man. Thank you, Carisha Brownlee. I thought she was going to say, that's a good man, Savannah. Listen, let me show y'all something. Look at this right here. Y'all see this right here? Oh, what is this? That is not what. Okay, y'all see this part right here? Okay, in the second paragraph, it says, I witnessed ... and came to know ... a different person. So that's how I know she didn't write it. ChatGPT wrote it. That actually, those dashes are something that ChatGPT has, they put throughout their work. It's also in this 1, 2, 3, the third paragraph it's like a double dash. Then this is the fourth. The fifth paragraph has it twice. It says, it wasn't just an event. It was about what it represented, ... here. Then lower down in the sentence, it says, he encouraged me, ... and so many others, ... to dream bigger. Listen, so she chat GPT this letter. We all know she did not write it. And that's fine. Ain't nothing wrong with chat GPT. But if you're going to chat GPT, you need to update your settings on your system to where the settings do not give away that you done chat GPT this bad boy. Like, come on. What do you think? Do you think the judge is going to be persuaded? Y'all think the judge is going to be persuaded by this letter? Now, here's something that's very interesting. This Thursday, in this same case, Diddy has a hearing on his motion for a new trial. More specifically, it's a motion for a new trial, or it is a motion he's asking for two things. He either wants a new trial or he wants the court to throw away his conviction on the 2 hooker charges, the only charges that he is being charged with. Oh, gosh. Yeah, hold on, because y'all, let me see. Let me make sure. Y'all can see me. Y'all can hear me, right? Yeah, okay, good. You can hear me. Yeah, with the dashes. So the reason all of these, and there probably will be more of these character letters are coming in, is because Diddy just submitted, there was a sentencing report. Think of like probation. Probation makes a recommendation, but both sides argue. Diddy's side, of course, is asking for the lower side of the sentencing guidelines, and the government is going to ask for the higher side. But what's interesting is the judge set a second hearing on the motion for new trial. So initially, Diddy's legal team filed that motion for new trial while the case was going on. Basically, they filed that as soon as the defense rested their case, just before it went to the jury. That's normal. What's not normal is that the judge is now setting the hearing on that motion to dismiss, basically, or motion to set aside the verdict, setting it for a week before sentencing. Usually, it's set the same day as sentencing, especially if the judge is planning to deny the motion. So here, it suggests to me that, I don't know, Diddy may have a decent chance with this judge for getting the court to actually set aside these 2 hooker charges, given that the court wanted to separate the two hearings for an entire week. Hey, Ashley, thank you so much for joining. Separate them by an entire week. Because in the event that those two charges are dismissed or set aside, that would mean that there would be nothing to charge him with, that he would have been found not guilty of all charges and could be immediately released. And we all know that he's been being held without bail since September. Actually, it's now officially been a year. It was like September 16th, I believe, of last year. So it's officially, no, I think it was September 24th, which would be today. So that would be a year. Either way, hit that like, y'all, as y'all come on in. We'll stay tuned. I'm definitely going to be there live in the courtroom to see what the judge decides this Thursday. And also, the judge actually has asked the government to supply some cases that support their side. That also suggests that the judge is persuaded by Diddy's team's arguments and maybe leaning that way. Now, the ultimate goal, of course, is to get time served at this point. If they can't get the verdict set aside means, yeah, the judge is saying, yeah, we know the jury came back and said guilty, but looking at the facts as they are, I have to set aside this verdict because it is inconsistent with the facts, the evidence, and the law. And there's a lot of different reasons for that. Now, so the question is finally, what do we think Diddy's going to get? Will he get time served, which is effectively what they are asking for? He sat there for a year, so effectively that would be, if the judge says we're sentencing him to a year, that's what it would be. It's not the feds, you don't get like special time at this point. He hasn't even gone in, so it's not like it's going to be time and a half. No, he would get credit day for day for every day that he's been in so far. But here's why I don't think it's going to be time served, is because the judge was really disgusted by the fact that throughout the trial, Diddy's legal team literally got off or won based on claiming, it's just domestic violence. Specifically, the judge spoke multiple times and said, hey, you guys have acknowledged violence, and because of that, I can't just let you go. That is specifically why Diddy was not allowed to leave and go home in between the verdict and sentencing, is because violence was admitted by his legal team. And specifically here, there's the acknowledgement of violence against at least one of the two hooker victims. Remember, he's being charged with hookers. So in other words, the judge is able to punish him for beating his hookers into hooking or beating the hookers. Now, he cannot punish him for trafficking because the jury said he's innocent of that or not guilty of that. Same thing. So the judge cannot punish him for that, but the judge can punish him for whooping Cassie's tail, for whooping her in that hallway. He can be punished for that from the standpoint that he could go to the higher end of the sentencing range, because when you basically force, under the law here, is you have a woman prostitute and you do so admittedly with violence, you can get more time. So that's why I don't think it's going to be time served. I think it's going to be a little more. I think it's probably going to be closer to the 3-year range. I definitely don't see 5 years, but if it's a 3-year range, that means Diddy served 1, he'd have 2 more left. Let me see what comments there are before we move to the last story of the evening, which is Cardi. And this is an update, y'all. It says Diddy just wants on record that he had character letters submitted. Yes, these letters aren't going to mean anything to the judge. That man did any and everything except sit there for a year. He cried and whined every single second. But also remember, as I said, he's also doing the second motion to set aside. He's submitting the character references, all of this, because as I said before, at the end of the day, Diddy's goal is a pardon. Now, I know Trump at one point said he'd think about it, and another time he came back and said no, he wouldn't do it. But if you trust that man at this point, you've lost your mind. You're crazy. Because I could absolutely see the T word. I say the T word because it messes up the algorithm if I say his name too many times. I could see the T word literally one day where there's too much heat on him. Maybe if the Epstein files come out and reveal an association between him or something, he will want to change the narrative of the media. So he'd go ahead and pardon Diddy to do that. I could 100% see Mr. T pardoning Diddy, not because he thinks it's a nice thing to do, but number one, because he hates Maureen Comey. We know he fired her and she's suing him. She was the one that prosecuted this. As well, he loves just flexing his power. And if he feels that these people are getting railroaded, if he feels that this guy wasn't treated fairly, and that's what these character letters and all this other stuff is about. So I could see, yeah, people are saying he needs to sit it out. He needs to sit it out. But we shall see. Hey, Afra, good seeing you there. So that man did any and everything. That's right. All right. And last but not least, y'all. Last but not least, y'all. Cardi B, y'all. Yo, Cardi is about. So Cardi B, here we go.
Taxes. Only.
All right. All right. So Cardi B, y'all. So we all know Cardi B is pregnant. She just came out and announced that she's pregnant with her, I guess he's her boyfriend, Stephon Diggs, who also has got a whole bunch of kids with other women. He's got, correction, he has one that has been confirmed to be his. There's a second woman who has a 5-month-old who filed back in December to prove paternity. And Stephon is like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm the dad or not. I want to take the test. I want to confirm one way or the other, as he should. And then there's rumors of 2 other women that are also allegedly pregnant, waiting to have their babies, in addition to Cardi B. One woman posted a photo from March of this year that I saw on TikTok, where it's her little belly. She looks to be, I don't know, maybe about 3 months, and that was in March. 3 months, maybe 4. And she's claiming that basically he used to just give her, Stephon used to just give her money, but that this is his kid, which she seems to want to keep. So we're going to see. But what I wanted to talk about here is there is this audio clip of Cardi B talking with Angie Martinez about what is taking so long with the divorce. Now I'll say this. In the state of Georgia, generally judges don't like, in the state of Georgia, if you are pregnant and you are married, the law presumes that the father is the child. So here's what that means. If Offset wanted to take care of the kid, he don't even have to go and get a paternity test. In the course of the divorce, the court could literally just add this child to the rest of the custody, visitation, money, whatever is going to go on with the other kids. This child under the law would be treated like his kid. That is the presumption. Either unless he steps up and says, this ain't my baby, or the father, Diggs, says, no, that's my baby, I want to take care of it. Diggs could actually intervene and say, no, it's my kid. Or if Cardi B wants to be like, it's not your kid. But even if Cardi B says it's not your kid, again, if he wanted to be the dad, he could. The way that comes into play is I have a guy friend who looked like he can't have no kids, married a girl. She ends up getting pregnant by someone else. He knew that probably wasn't his baby, but he also knew it was his only chance of having a son. So he refused a paternity test. He did the divorce and he signed all the paperwork. He pays child support for that kid. It is believed that someone else is the kid, but oh well, he got his baby. And for years, he tolerated abuse from that woman, actually, because he was terrified and she would threaten to divorce him and take the kid. And he was very scared of that because he knew this kid, when that kid had some big old ears, that kid didn't look nothing like it. All right. I wonder if she got preggers to get Offset to complete the divorce. So also in Georgia, I covered this in a prior video. In Georgia, judges generally don't want to finalize the divorce until after the baby is born. And that's because they want the option to be able to do a paternity test and then to confirm custody, visitation, child support. Unless all the parties involved are in agreement, the judge generally wants to wait. But sometimes what a judge will do is he'll grant the divorce, but he'll say, we're not going to finalize child custody, visitation, and paternity until the baby is born. Yeah. However, today you can do a paternity test. My friend has Fast Labs now in Grapevine, Texas. where literally you can go in, and if you are pregnant, she can draw blood from the mama's arm and do DNA from the dad to confirm paternity. There is no needle up in the vaginal jet. So I don't know, maybe that's what Cardi B has already done just to confirm, or she may have just known from the time frame. I think the baby is supposed to be due in February as of right now. But listen to what she says. This is what Cardi B explains is the reason why she is still married to this fool.
Only reason why the only reason why I'm still married is because somebody wants me to pay for their taxes. Y'all want to know the tea?
Yes, we
The
do.
only way I could get out of my marriage if I pay for somebody else's taxes, even though I pay for my own, and give them one of my properties. I'm fighting for that. I'm gonna fight for that. This is not no love shit. And like I said, I'm not gonna stop living my life because on a contract, I'm practically still married because somebody wanna hold me hostage if I don't give them millions of dollars to get out of it. So that's what I'm going through in life. However, I'm not gonna live my life. Y'all want me to remarry and stuff, to have another baby and stuff like that? I'm doing things how what makes me happy.
All right. So y'all heard it there. Let me pause
Only
it.
reason why
There we go. It says Cardi B might as well have a reality show. She sure may have. It says a normal divorce day. So listen, so I went and I was like, okay, well, what are we talking about with the taxes and with the houses? Well, I remember one of the complaints that Cardi B has had in the past was that she's really big on planning for her future, saving, making sure she's never broke again, making sure she's always good. And he is like, whatever, he's whimsical. Do you know this man did not, before they got together, he did not own a home? He rented all the places that he stayed. He did not own a home. I mean, this man was doing hood end stuff for real. So part of why she is so upset and frustrated is he never saved any of his money during the marriage, ever. He never saved any of the money. He spent it on whatever he wanted to spend it on, which included not paying his own taxes. And we all know when you're self-employed, when you're as an artist like this, you've got to stay on top of those taxes because they will get you. Okay, someone said the baby is due in December. So as a result, so he comes into the marriage with no property. I think she had at least one property prior to marriage, but all the other properties that she has acquired have been during the marriage. So generally under those rules, anything if the genders were flipped, right? If this had been him and he had acquired 5 to 7 properties, she's got around 7 properties at least. I think we'll say between 4 and 7. She's got, because she also has a plethora of investments. Some I believe, are like apartment complexes and things like that. She keeps them in trust and different things, so they're not going to straight up be under her name. She owns her house, yes, in New Jersey. I know she owns that one. She owns an Atlanta home, at least one in Atlanta. I believe she bought her mother a home, which she also owns. And so Offset is saying, though, in order for him to sign the divorce papers, she's got to pay his tax bill and give him at least one of the properties. Y'all, here go the tax bill. Y'all look at this. Look at this. This man, and the tax bill just popped up. The tax bill popped up while she's been trying to get this doggone divorce. It popped up in 2024. He owes nearly $2 million in taxes. $2 million. Oh my goodness. I see why she's like, no. Order in the court, $2 million. You tell me, would you want to pay your ex's $2 million tax bill to get the divorce over and done with? Because she also seems like the type, she could wait that bitch out. She could wait that sucker out. Clearly, she's gone on with her life. So it's $2 million. More specifically, I'm going to share this. Here we are. Let me pull this other one down. Here it is. All right, according to Yahoo Finance, Cardi B's husband's tax debts swell to a massive 7-figure sum amid the divorce. Because remember, they just keep accruing taxes. It says it has been confirmed. And I also confirmed, I pulled some of the tax documents, but I didn't have time enough to redact out addresses and important stuff. But it says on March the 12th of this year, the Georgia Department of Revenue filed a state tax lien against Offset, real name Kiari Cephas. The address listed on the lien is their estate in Sandy Springs, Georgia, that he and Cardi bought together in 2019. The lien claims Offset failed to pay taxes owed for the year 2021. You see how they catch up with you later? The government said the musician initially owed just $167,900 in taxes, but the bill has grown to basically $300,000 due to interest of $53K plus penalties and other fees. That's just the Georgia state tax lien, y'all. That's just the state one. That ain't the IRS. The state tax lien comes months after Offset was socked with a federal tax lien. On April 23rd of last year, the IRS accused him of owing $1.5 million in unpaid taxes. Remember, they will send you to jail for failure to pay taxes. It has now grown to $1.866 million. Both liens remain active and no releases have been filed by the governmental agencies. Cardi asked for primary custody of the 3 kids that she shares with Offset. And the divorce was filed August of 2024. So it looks like the tax lien came out in April, correction. She filed for divorce in 2024. I'm sure she was like, I'm not paying your damn debts. And then it says they just disconnected from each other, an insider says. An insider told TMZ that the breakup was, quote, amicable. Cardi previously filed for divorce in 2020, ended up dismissing it before it was finalized, and sources close told TMZ she has no intention of reconciling with him this time around. Cardi seems, here we go. It says, Cardi seems to have already moved on with NFL star Stephon Diggs. They were spotted out together at an NBA game earlier this month. This was in March. So March of this year, that ain't even that long. As In Touch reported, Cardi is facing her own legal issues at the moment. Oh, this is before the trial with Imani Ellis. What have you. All right. So the bottom line is she's like, I don't want to pay your tax. Well, here's the thing. Offset actually is probably having trouble getting another house. First of all, you can't buy another house while you have a tax lien. It is literally impossible. It also means Cardi and them can't sell any of the properties that they have until the tax lien is paid. That is what happens when you are married to someone who gets an IRS tax lien. Now, Cardi can get a divorce from him, and as long as in the divorce, any properties that solely belong to her, that the court says these are only Cardi's properties, then it is possible that the tax lien will not attach to those. However, for the properties, especially the ones that they bought together, the tax lien is likely already attached because the tax lien was dated April of 2024, meaning Cardi may want to just give him whatever house has the tax lien, but it appears has it attached to it, but it appears that property is likely the dream house, the main house, the big house that they raised the kids and everything in. The other component of that, so that's why she's like, no, pay your own debt. You should have $2 million stashed away somewhere. But he is in Offset, likely may not be able to even rent an apartment in his own name without a cosigner or guarantor, because when you got a $2 million tax lien, apartment C, you haven't paid your bills. You haven't paid important bills that are superior to their own. So it makes it difficult for him to rent and all of that. Now, all of this though, Cardi, this whole you sticking together because you not sticking together, but you having the prolonged divorce because he wants one of your properties and don't want to pay his taxes. Baby, as many times as you done hated this man and thought about divorcing but got back together. Because the truth is this man would probably still keep taking you back if you hadn't let that man nut on top of this baby's head and make that baby inside of you. A postnup would have solved all of this, y'all. A postnup. This is why a postnup is so important. So a prenup is what you get before you get married. A postnup can be added at any point in the marriage. You know who's got more postnups than you can count? Melania Trump. That's why she sits around dealing with him. Every time he does something nasty and cruel, and that man wears, Mr. T wears diapers and boo-boo on himself and boo-boo, tee-tee, poo-poo, pee-pee. She has post-nups that she continues to renew, and they update and upgrade, giving Melania more and more for standing by his side through the election, because you cannot win as a conservative candidate divorced and without a current wife. So this is Melania's a reward for stomaching his doo-doo, poo-poo, tt, caca, nasty behind. So in this case, what I'm saying is, I'm not saying Cardi should take him back. Well, actually, if she don't want to pay this, she might could fake take him back, make him do the post-nup, sign it, and then divorce him. You can still do that. Or more importantly, back in 2020, when he was ushering hundreds of thousands of roses onto the stage in the middle of her performance to beg her to take him back, when he cheated on her with the very same girl that then filed a criminal lawsuit against her, claiming that Cardi had girls jump the girl in the stripper club, right? Risking that Cardi would have had to go to jail. That girl, Jade, cheated with her. Cardi should have had a post-nup that outlined all your debts are yours. If we ever split, these properties are mine. This one is yours. If you incur any tax debt, any this is yours. Especially because she was already complaining about how he spent money and that he wasn't like investing in houses and this, that, and property, the things that were forward thinking. Basically, he wasn't saving his money. He was just living for the day, right? Hindsight's 2020. Absolutely. There's always a chance, yeah, if she just wanted to, I wouldn't, it's not even worth fake getting this man to take you back. Because under the law, and this is the final part about divorces while married, dating while married. So real quickly, under the law, in these situations like this, so Cardi B, allegedly, Cardi B had her final straw as a result of the cheating. There was just all this cheating that had gone on, started by Offset, that got so embarrassing where she just said she wasn't going to tolerate it anymore. Now, when it comes to fault, some states do take fault into consideration when they're splitting up assets in a divorce. Now, my favorite example is actually, let me put them on the screen. You guys remember these, folks? Hold on. Show the picture. You remember these, folks? Here we are. I share this one. If you remember this guy, so this guy is Donald Sterling. He used to own the LA Clippers, right? But then he got outed for saying some real racist stuff, okay? He got outed by his mistress. This is going to go into property splits, and how those things work. Stay with me here. So Donald Sterling, this is Donald Sterling. He's the white guy on the right. This is his mistress. She's black. She went by V, Stiviano. She's mixed. She's like black, Latino, and whatever else. All right. Well, she had a recording of Donald Sterling making racially offensive remarks that ultimately bounced him from the NBA. The NBA forced him to sell his team, and he was banned from ever owning an NBA team ever again. Well, here's the tea. During the course of their 2.5 year relationship, Sterling gave her a Ferrari, a Bentley, a Range Rover, and he paid the lion's share of a $1.8 million duplex that he purchased for her near Beverly Hills. Well, his wife caught wind of this, got sick of it, and his wife sued old girl, not him, his wife, who goes by Shelly. Well, baby, Shelly won. And the judge said that this chick, the mistress, owes Shelly $2.6 million for the gifts and the assets and the different things that Donald Sterling had given her during the course of the marriage, y'all. It said the judge said that the house that Sterling bought her had to be turned over to the wife. The judge also required that the mistress relinquish $830,000 that had been given to her, and transfer the duplex back to the wife. It was the mistress was like, I'm appealing with her lawyer. She had a lawyer and everything. The lawyer and her appealed, and it stuck, honey. It stuck. And that was because under the law of their state, if you are married and this is actually California law. It says if you are married, quote, a spouse may not make a gift of what's called community personal property or dispose of community personal property for less than the fair market reasonable value without the written consent of their spouse. So in other words, because he used their marital income to trick on this girl, the wife was able to get it all back. But here's the other crazy tea with that. The wife then, so the NBA banned him for life and fined him 2.5 million. Well, when that happened, Shirley was like, I'm not about to lose my livelihood because you have this mistress, right? Because without the mistress, none of this would have come to light. What happened was the wife sued the mistress first to get the 2.6 million. During the course of discovery in that suit, during the course of that lawsuit of the wife suing the mistress released audio recordings of Don Sterling saying racist crap about Black people. Oh, I got the clip. I know you want it. Wait, let me move this one. Hold on. Where is it? I'm going to play you. Here we are. I'm going to play you a little audio from it just so you can see. Because the moral of this is this is what you got to think about when you are over here messing with married people. Here you go. This is what Donald Sterling is saying to his Black mistress, the Black girl that he didn't give all that money to. Girlfriend is what she just said. Listen.
Nobody said you did anything wrong.
I don't do anything wrong. If we ever have any issues, it's because people call you and tell you things about me that are not
Why are
true.
you broadcasting?
I'm not broadcasting anything.
Taking pictures with minorities. Why?
What's wrong with minorities?
He said, why are you broadcasting taking pictures with minorities? Why?
What's wrong with Black people?
Nothing.
What's wrong with these
It's like
families?
talking to an enemy. There's nothing wrong with minorities. They're fabulous.
It's like talking to an enemy. There's nothing wrong with minorities. They're fabulous.
Fabulous. Because you're an enemy to me.
Why?
Because you don't understand.
I don't understand what.
Nothing.
That racism still is alive?
No, but there's a culture.
What culture?
People steal certain things. Hispanics steal certain things towards blacks. Blacks steal certain things towards other groups. It's been that way historically, and it will always be that way.
But it's not that way in my heart and in my mind.
But maybe you want to adjust to the world. Why do you have to disrespect them? Those that are
Who am I disrespecting?
the world before you.
Why am I disrespecting them?
By walking, you're perceived as either a Latina or a white girl.
Oh.
Why should you be walking publicly with Black people?
So he was getting mad at her because she would bring Black people with her to the suite that he allowed, for her to enjoy as his mistress and girlfriend. She was bringing Black people, and that pissed him off. So in other words, what was crazy is had the wife not sued her for the 2.6 million to get back, the money for all of the gifts that her husband was giving this girl, this audio likely would have never been released to the public, and he would have never lost the LA Clippers. Now, ultimately, a sale was forced. This is what Shelley did. Shelley is so sick of him. It said, with the NBA threatening to seize the team, Shelley Sterling, she got a hold of the family trust by claiming that and showing that her husband has signs of Alzheimer's, basically saying he don't have good sense. He's got signs of Alzheimer's. That's what Alzheimer's don't make you racist. Okay. Racism makes you racist. But it says that he had Alzheimer's, and she negotiated a record at the time, $2 billion sale of the LA Clippers to the ex-Microsoft CEO, Steve Ballmer. Her husband, Donald Sterling, actually tried to block the sale and then sued his wife and sued the NBA in federal court. That was separate. But Donald Sterling later that year, he actually filed for divorce against the wife, but then he dropped it like 8 or 9 months later. Y'all been together too long. Just shut up. They've now been married for 61 years. But the point of this is with Cardi B, if she wants an offset, and she wants to offset from Offset, if she wants to be able to set aside and say, no, I don't want to pay his tax bill, she could probably find a bunch of different gifts from all the different women, the cash apps, the this and that, present that to the court and say, Your Honor, look what he was doing. But she has to be able to show that he did those things first. They cannot both be tricking off on other people at the same time. Then it ain't going to help, right? Also, that case is a bit distinct because this case, Donald Sterling, happened in California, and it was a California marriage where California believes in community property. Georgia does not. Georgia believes in something that's called equitable distribution. So a community property state, it's presumed 50-50 split, unless there are special circumstances like you can prove cheating and giving a mistress a bunch of money. But with equitable distribution, it's generally 50-50, but they can move it, they can change it out. Correct. California is community property. Georgia is not, is the point. Georgia is not. And so Cardi B has a decent chance of telling the court, like, hey, this is my husband. This is how much money he's made over the years. He chose to spend his money on chicks, mistresses, lean, drugs, whatever else he wanted to spend his money on. He wanted to spend it on anything but paying his taxes or buying off one of these homes. And if that's the case, hit that like, guys. We've only got 158 likes. So, excuse me. So I anticipate that this Cardi B divorce, buckle up, it's going to be a long time because we've already seen how Cardi B does. Cardi B would rather pay a lawyer $2 million than give that money to Offset as the grown man that he is. And can you blame her? Because we saw how Cardi B spent all those years, time, and money suing Tasha K. When at first, all she wanted Tasha K to do was remove the relevant videos. She litigated that thing for 4 years. The other woman, there was the civil suit that she just won against Imani Ellis, the woman who had claimed that she scratched her on the face. That lawsuit has been going on for 8 years. That lawsuit stemmed from an incident that happened while she was pregnant with Culture. That's how long that's been going. So they could very easily, they as in Cardi B and Offset could very easily be like Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Y'all, they had an 8-year-long divorce because they were arguing over assets. I believe Cardi B, it appears that Cardi B used her money to acquire the majority of these assets. She just does not want to have to reward him by paying him the $2 million tax lien. For some, she's not even going to get anything out of it. It's not like, right? It's not like she's getting equity from a home or any of that. That was something that was completely preventable. Hell, why didn't he use the same tax people she did? She ain't got no tax liens. She don't got no tax liens. And last but not least, I'll have to say, 8 years. The assault, the assault case was 8 years ago. Yes, and Cardi B did catch a case over Offset years ago. Because I think, too, when you're dealing with a woman who never wanted to get divorced in the first place, but felt that she had no choice because of your lack of loyalty, because of your lack of self-control, then she doesn't want to reward you where you leave the marriage in a better situation, in a better predicament than how you've left her. I can't say you blame him. But also, when he's saying he wants Cardi to give him one of the houses, let me tell y'all this piece of advice. Don't you ever, I don't care how badly you want to get divorced, don't you ever give nobody a house if there is still a note under your name tied to it. Don't you ever. Because once you transfer that house, there's nothing you can do to force them to remove your name. Specifically, under the law, even if the court order says within 30 days, 90 days, you have to remove the other party's name from the mortgage, the law actually is that you have to make a good faith attempt. So if that person can't qualify for a mortgage on their own without your name on it, the mortgage that's there stands. And I've had people call my office trying to get a house. They've been divorced now for 5, 6, 8 years. They want to get a new house with their new love, and they can't qualify for the new house because the other spouse has never taken their name off the old house. They can't take their name off the old house because they have effed up credit. And we know right here and right now, Offset has messed up credit. So to the extent that Offset is like, I want one of the houses, it would either need to be a house that's completely paid off with no mortgage attached to it. Because if you give someone a property with a mortgage, If they stop paying the mortgage, your credit's ruined. You end up in foreclosure, even though the court order said they were supposed to pay the note and do all the things and do it on time. You're stuck, and you would literally have to just go back to court and fight about it. So Cardi, don't you dare get a man a house if the house still has a note, even if both of your names are on it. Don't give it to him and be like, take mine off. No, he would need to refinance it to get your name off beforehand, and he can't because he owes the $2 million tax lien, which he has to take care of. Yes, don't co-sign for irresponsible males. But they were married, so at the time he wasn't irresponsible. But I also have to say this lastly. So many people are talking about, oh, you shouldn't date while you're divorcing. As an attorney, I disagree. But here's what I think that you should focus on if you are considering dating someone who is in the middle of a divorce or while you yourself are divorcing. Number one, you need to make sure that you have moved into separate residences so that it is adamantly clear, it is very clear that you guys are separated. Some states have legal separation, most don't. And in the ones that don't, you having two separate residences and then going forward and filing separate taxes is a strong indication that you guys are serious in moving forward with the divorce. Also, if you're clear, there is no chance for reconciliation. Because here's the thing. I just referenced Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie. It took them 8 years to divorce. Don't nobody expect them to never have gone on a date in 8 years. Come on, that's not even reasonable. That's not reasonable. But once you're in separate households, then that's different. I also say that it's not necessarily bad that someone dates while going through a divorce due to the fact that the more that other person has a hold on you and control over your happiness, the more miserable you probably are. So the sooner you can start to build your separate lives, it's generally the better that it goes. Also, my age, I like men who are in their 40s, mid 40s, like whatever. For those men, look, all the good ones probably been divorced. Okay. So you might have to get one fresh up out of a divorce. I have definitely hung out on the pew outside of the divorce courtrooms at the George Allen Courthouse. That is the civil family courthouse in Dallas, Texas. I have hung out there just looking for some handsome guys. But also the good thing, if you date a divorced guy, you can call me. I will do a background check. I'll do my best to pull the divorce documents so you can see the grounds. That way you'll be able to see, is this based on infidelity? What is it based on? Sometimes you can even get off the docket. You can get their financial documents like I got with Tyrese. You can do a little search through my stories. You can see with Tyrese all that money. But yes. Or that's right. A lot of them will be divorced, but they are working through financials. One way you can tell that, look at the docket. If the docket is public in their case, which usually it is, then you can see what are they doing. Are they exchanging discovery? Exchanging discovery is generally where you're exchanging financial documents to determine who's supposed to pay what, how much will child support be, X, Y, Z. Like when you get to the point where they're calculating child support, first you do a temporary orders, but then towards the end, it's something more formal. Oh, you cooking with fish grease. That's pretty good. If you see that they've already had like appointed, it's usually called the guardian ad litem or someone like that to basically do a home study and evaluate both sides' homes to see what would be the better home for the kids and what would be the split of custody. You're good. They not getting back together when they do all that. Not generally. So if they get back together with your spouse, that's a risk that you take. That is absolutely a risk. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with waiting. But for me, when I have dealt with homegirls who've been in that situation, it's usually people where it's been like years. I know of a couple and they're in year 3 of their divorce. And it is all based on money. So I agree. You run a risk. You absolutely run a risk that they're going to get back with their spouse. And hell, if they don't get back with their spouse immediately, there's a lot of people who marry somebody else and then go back to their spouse. But more than that, you also run the risk that they get a divorce only to realize they need more time. I don't see why any man would want to get a divorce and immediately get into a super serious marriage-minded relationship. Come on now. They probably want to sow their royal oats. They probably want to hoe it up, especially if they married in their 20s when they didn't even really know what they were looking at. Probably didn't even know how to pick a partner. So you have to also be careful that this person isn't leaning on you, because he doesn't want to go to therapy. And you sit there and you listen to him talk all the BS about the wife and what all she did and this, that, and the third. Don't be nobody's free therapist. You need to tell that man, sir, you owe me a copay. I'll be your friend, but I can't do it to you because you got too much going on. Well, all right, guys, this is it for tonight's episode of Girl, Is That Legal? Drop additional topics you want me to cover down below. I am going to be in DC at the Congressional Black Caucus this week. So if you see me, I want you to say, Legal Bestie. I'd love to take pictures and just hang out with you guys. But also, I'm still going to be releasing content this week. So let me know what else you guys want to talk about. Hit that like, hit that subscribe on your way out. And don't forget, you can always go to SimoneRedwine.com to book a consultation anywhere in the nation. Thanks. Have a great night.